So a lot of people have a lot of negative opinions about Metroid Other M, and I actually really like that game, and I'm gonna talk about why a bit. And I think a lot of people are really overreacting about a lot of things, and I think a lot of people maybe don't really know about the game and just hear people complaining and then they think it's a bad game. Maybe a lot of Metroid fans do really like it, although they might not like it as much as the rest of the series. But still, I think a lot of Metroid fans, especially, are really like salty about it, like unnecessarily. But anyway, I personally feel that not every Metroid game has to be isolated. But a lot of people have that opinion that they look at Super Metroid and Metroid Prime, which are my favorite Metroid games as well. But they look at that and they think every Metroid game has to be that. But I don't agree with that at all. I like that Metroid Other M brings something different. Like it gives a story. It gives Samus a personality, which he really needed because he doesn't really have one in other games. Some people find that weird, like that she talks and has a personality, but I think it really fits. And like you can always keep going without a character talking. I think it's kind of weird in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as well. Like there's these awesome cutscenes and Link still doesn't talk. Like it's just weird. It looks weird. So I like what Other M did. The cutscenes were they were CGI, which I really like. They were really pretty, really beautiful. Yeah. So also a lot of people say the story is bad and that the acting is bad. I don't really agree. I think a lot of people say that Breath of the Wild's voice acting is good, and I don't agree with that as well. So maybe my opinions on voice acting aren't really valid, I think, but I don't know. I quite liked it. Like it was really all emotional, and when something dangerous happened, everybody got scared and stuff. It's just typical. It fits. I don't know. Also, Samus's voice really fits. She narrates the story, and I think the voice actress that voices her does it really well. Like she really gives her this calm, this calm voice that really just fits with her. Also, a lot of people complain about Adam Malkovich, like he's her commander, but the thing is, in an army or something, if you happen to come across that, I've heard that anyway, that if you happen to come across your old commander or anything, you generally have to respect them and still answer their commands, like it's a respect thing. So it's not weird at all that Samus had to do that. Also, in like Super Metroid or Metroid Prime, for example, you have to your items you just lose them, and then you have to go find them without any logical reason. In Other M, it's just because Adam doesn't let you use them, which it is kind of weird, but that's how it goes in like an army situation. Like you have someone in command, and you don't always agree with them, but it's just the way it goes. And I didn't think it was that weird in Other M when I knew that. Like Also, I think a lot of Metroid fans are really hypocritical because a lot of them don't seem to mind the new Tomb Raider reboot, which in my opinion is kind of similar to Metroid Other M. I really like the Tomb Raider reboots. I still need to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I've played the other two. I think they're actually kind of similar to Metroid in terms of gameplay, but also because Lara Croft is also like a strong female character, so it's kind of similar in that way. Like those games, those Tomb Raider games were kind of a success. They were generally well received, so they made it into a trilogy. I feel like if people weren't so negative about Other M, we might have gotten more Metroid games the last couple of years. Like, it was like, oh, it got bad reviews, not many people bought it. It was like, then okay, then they won't make Metroid games. But that's the thing. Why couldn't more people just enjoy it the way for what it was? I think like Samus getting scared of Ridley, like that. How does that not make sense? Like a lot of people are like, oh, that's not Samus, and she's freaking out, and she's supposed to be like a cold-blooded badass. But I think it's like I think Lara Croft is a badass, even though she's really emotional in Tomb Raider. You know, it just shows that they're human. You know, they have emotions, and they get scared by things, especially if something like Ridley, if they've killed their parents, and it's really it keeps coming back. That has to be like traumatizing, and it's really cool to see that actually happen in the game. That she freaks out. She was like, "But I thought he was dead," but then after she is scared of him, she does face him and beat him. So what's the problem? It's not like she runs away. Everyone's acting like she just gives up or something. No, she's just showing emotions, but then she does face it. That's still brave. That's still badass. I don't understand it at all. Like, it's the logic is just really flawed. Like, really weird. It just doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, it's really hypocritical that they don't really see problems with the Tomb Raider reboots, which Other M is sort of like a reboot, and it was kind of similar. But like I said, it wasn't a success, so... But alright, anyway. I think, yeah, also the story and the cinematics are really great. A lot of people, they're like, oh, yeah, it's mostly the story that is bad. I like the gameplay, but I like the gameplay as well, but I think other Metroid games are probably better at gameplay. And I actually like the story a lot in Other M. So it's just it sometimes it kind of feels like I'm playing a different game. Like, people have such a different opinion about the game than I did. Maybe it had to do with the fact that it was basically my first Metroid game. I didn't really have a standard for Metroid for what it should be. But that said, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is really different as well, and no one seems to mind. I personally, it took me like a couple of months before I really got used to the fact that it wasn't really the Zelda I knew. Like, it was really different. It was really open, and there weren't many puzzles, and that I still have to get used to that sometimes. Like, so, but then in the end, I really like Breath of the Wild. So I don't understand why Metro fans are so stuck in the past. Like, they need every Metroid game to stay the same. It's so stupid. I really don't get it. So there are some things I don't like about it. For example, I don't think the music is really good in Other M. The plot also isn't great. Like, I like the story and the cutscenes, but the plot is kind of confusing, and there are all these characters that are supposed to be like the Other M, but it's really confusing to follow. So, yeah, the plot isn't great, the music isn't great. Other than that, I think the game is really great. Like, I don't understand why it gets so much hate. Like, it's not my favorite Metroid game. Like, I prefer, like I said before, I prefer Super Metroid and Metroid Prime. I think I like Metroid Prime 2 and 3 more. Samus Returns actually does a lot of things that Other M does. It also does that, which makes that game great. And oh, that's another thing. A lot of people like Samus Returns. So how can it be that a lot of things in Samus Returns they do well come from Other M, yet people like Samus Returns, but they don't like Other M. That's so messed up. I don't get it. Like those action cutscenes. Those are all things you see in Other M, and that's awesome. That's great to see, and I like that it was back, but a lot of people like seem to forget that it came from Other M, and they're just like, oh, but Other M sucks, but Samus Returns is great, and it's like a lot of gameplay elements are similar, so it doesn't make sense.